How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There's something wild that I want to show you here today, and we're going to go through some different metrics, some different interesting graphics I think people just haven't thought about before or haven't noticed, and then we're going to be playing some Michael Saylor towards the end. And honestly, the video is probably going to get demonetized because the video is kind of mashed together with some music. So we're going to just push past that. I think that the content is more important than the ad revenue. If you guys like that, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video, maybe give the video a like. And if you want to trade crypto, there's a link underneath the video to Margex where you can start trading in just a few seconds. If you want to play some long trades for the inevitable bull run that's coming, you can sign up and do that underneath the video. And if you want to play some shorts, maybe you're betting against the market, you can do that as well underneath the video. There's also a link to CoinW as well. They're doing a deposit bonus. Depending on how much you deposit and then trade, you can get rewards up to 3,000 USDT. Now let's start here. Bitcoin Magazine says, which one is a Ponzi scheme? Unlimited supply, not backed by anything, centrally controlled, or fixed supply backed by energy, no one can control it. I know we are early in the Bitcoin experiment, but it is wild to think about a few different things. First of all, I think some people use the term Ponzi scheme, and honestly, the US dollar, the definition of a Ponzi scheme is an investment fraud that pays existing investors with funds collected from new investors. Now, I think Ponzi scheme would be more like, Social Security, something like that, as opposed to the US dollar. But this just is crappy money. This is crap. The fact is the supply has increased drastically. Debt has increased. The credibility of the government has decreased. And it got me thinking about actually gold, because just a few days ago, the gold standard was on its anniversary from the date that it stopped being the standard. And it got me thinking, okay, everyone, when Bitcoin's price goes down or sideways, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people get kind of freaked out, think that Bitcoin's a scam or something. But you have to remember how early we are in this Bitcoin experiment. And I was thinking, okay, how long has gold been used for value? I looked it up. It's around 6,000 years. Now, Bitcoin has been mined for about 15 and a half years. Okay, that is about 1/400th the time that gold's been around, used as value. Now, this room, it's a normal sized bedroom, about 13, 14 feet, something like that. This pen, about 1/3 of an inch. Look how small this is, this width, compared to the length of the room. You can only see maybe 1/4 of the room, but let me back up here for a second and show you something. This distance, the width of this is about the length of time that Bitcoin's been around. And then this whole room is how long gold's been around. And this is actually a little bit bigger, but this little bit against that back wall is how long Bitcoin's been around. It needs to be around 400 times longer to be around as long as gold. And obviously by then gold will be double as old. So the fact is, we are so early in this Bitcoin experiment, and yet it's 1/10 the value of gold. Maybe 1/15 now that gold's moved up a little bit in price. You have to remember too, Bitcoin's appreciated to $60,000 per Bitcoin. And that's when, let's just pull this up, how much of the supply is out there? How much of the supply is circulating? 19.7 million of the 21 million. Let's actually divide this out so that you can see the exact amount of Bitcoin that's been issued. Okay, so 94%. We just hit 94. Actually, that's a pretty big time, milestone there. 94% of all Bitcoin has come into existence within the last 15.5 years. 94%. And the price has gone from less than a penny up to $60,000 per Bitcoin. That is crazy. We have 6% of the supply that's going to come to the market over the next 116 years. What do you think happens to the price when there's barely any new supply? That's crazy. And we're so early in we're so early on in this Bitcoin experiment. Again, this is how long Bitcoin's been around compared to this whole room. And you can't, like I said, you can barely see any of it. So yeah, this sometimes seems volatile. Bitcoin seems volatile, but that's because it's so new and there's so many people buying and selling it. They're not thinking about it as a long-term value yet, but that does come. Here's some interesting information too. Obviously, Bitcoin has come down since its all-time high. A lot of altcoins have too. This is the percentage to all-time high. To get back to all-time high, Bitcoin needs to go up 23%. ETH needs to go up 83%. You can see some of the altcoins. We're talking 584% on AVAX. Shiba Inu, which has done really well since the bear market, but still needs to go up 540%. Bitcoin Cash, 1,000%. Now, some of these will never hit all-time highs again, to be clear. Some of them will never hit them again, but some will most likely do 2 or 3, 4x's, 5x's from the last all-time high. So, like, just for example, if you think Bitcoin's going to hit a new all-time high and go up, let's say, a similar amount to what it did last cycle, a 3.5x from the prior all-time high from about, 19,000 to 67,000, 3.5x from the all-time high of $65,000, $69,000. That puts it around, $245,000, $250,000. Now, some altcoins are still far away from their all-time highs, but if you think they're going to move up just as much, if you think Ethereum's going to 3.5x from the high of last cycle, that would put it around 17,500. I'm not saying it's going to do that, but that would be a 7x from here. I know people are not super bullish in the market right now, but when you start looking at those numbers, it does get you more bullish. And part of the reason we haven't seen a lot of price movement is because the Bitcoin ETFs really haven't done much. You can see just big, I'd say big swings, and this goes perfectly with the price of Bitcoin too. But big swings in the inflows and outflows, where we'll have negative outflows for 6 or 7, 8 days. Part of that might be, macro causing people to want to sell and freak out. And then we'll have 15 straight days of inflows. Then we pump right back up, and then outflows, and then inflows. And part of this might just be because people are uncertain about macro policy. Okay. Of course, there are always new institutions that are approving these Bitcoin ETFs, but there are also people taking profits. And right now we're at a weird macro point where we haven't started decreasing rates, but things are getting pretty tight. Right? Rates have been high for a long time now. I will say not this week, but the week after, we will see PCE come in, which is the next economic indicator. And if this comes in good, obviously, then the expectations for September continue to increase that we'll have rate cut. Right now there's 100% chance of a rate cut according to analysts, but maybe we have 50 basis points versus 25 or something like that. But in general, it's just positive for the market if we do see PCE come in low. Now, I actually want to turn over to a crypto that I'm watching, XBORG. It's actually launching tomorrow, and I want to talk to you about it. But first, I just want to point out Digital Asset News. I had him in a video on the channel before. Great guy. Met him in real life too. So he is also reporting on XBORG. I want to play a little clip from his live stream today, and then I'll talk about XBORG a little bit myself, and then we'll get to Michael Saylor as well. Again, if you do want to trade crypto, there's that link to Margex, but let's play this just for a second for you.
XBORG it's a Web3 ID protocol, but I missed really talking about the big thing that they're doing, which is revenue generation, and how they're grabbing that revenue, and how they're building it off the backs. They're building it from their partners that they have in place, which are some of the biggest names in Web3 gaming, like Team Liquid with 2 million fans, Team BDS. I think they have almost 2 million. Ninjas, they have I want to say 3 or 4 million. That's in the video. And when I talk about this, I'm like, how do you guys generate revenue? And they haven't done it. They're doing a token generation event tomorrow. I did a deep dive, link in the description. And they're already generating revenue right now. They are revenue positive, which is insane to me.
Now, he actually goes into a clip. He did a full video with XBORG. So if you want to learn some more about it, check it out. But here's a good thread. The XBORG token from XBORG is launching on Monday. If you own XBG, head to xbg.com. You can just look it up. You can look at the link there to join the rewards program preseason with 2 million tokens to win for the next 6 days. Here's one of the Here's why it's one of the gaming tokens I invested in this cycle. The reason I'm bringing this up too is we just went over some of the tokens that, are still far away from all-time highs. Obviously, there are going to be some big winners in the altcoin space too. Gaming Identity XBORG is building digital identity for 3.3 billion gamers worldwide, revolutionizing data ownership and unlocking personalized and more secure experiences for players. However, like any big tech, it only has value if distributed effectively. This is why XBORG sets itself apart. Team Liquid, NIP, and Team BDS are some of the largest esports organizations in the world. Brands pay millions of dollars in sponsors yearly to tap into their fan bases. But what do they all have in common? Well, they're all building fan platforms with XBORG and leveraging their gaming identity to provide innovative fan experiences. This allows XBORG to onboard gamers, much more effectively than their competitors. They also have unique tokenomics. Most big gaming tokens have been down only since launching this year. XBORG believes it's due to the high FDV, low float trend common with centralized exchange launches. XBORG is countering this by doing an on-chain fair launch at 150 million fully diluted with 100% investor unlocks. This allows for quick price discovery and eliminates future supply unlocks that discourage new investors, leaving room for healthy token growth in the next phase of the cycle. So XBG has everything it needs to be for a clear winner. So if you want to go follow them, they already have a lot of followers on Twitter. You can add yourself to this list of 112,000 followers. Definitely check it out. And I do think this will probably be a good launch. I mean, it seems like they are really ahead of the game. What they've done is really impressive, and they already have real revenue, which again, you don't see all the time in crypto. Now, I want to play this mashup of Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin and talking about other assets as well. It does have music. It's a bit different, so I'll let you decide. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of thing. It was just a video that Dylan LeClaire reposted. I thought it was interesting, so we'll play it here for you. Of course, if you don't mind, again, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video for future videos like this. I'm just going to let you watch it, and then the video will be done. If you do want to trade crypto, there's a link underneath the video to Margex, and you can sign up in just a few seconds because they don't have KYC and you don't need a VPN. Okay, let's get to the video.
With every other asset on Earth, anything else you can own, houses, gold, silver, commodities, stocks, bonds, when the price goes up, the supply increases. If I increase the price of any stock by a factor of 10, the company issues more stock.
Of course.
Bitcoin's the only thing in the world that's inelastic to price. If the price of Bitcoin triples, you can't make any more. If the price goes up by a factor of 1,000,000, you can't make any more. In engineering, there's something called conservation of energy. And the whole point of conservation of energy is energy can either be made or destroyed. There has to be conservation of it. The mathematical metaphor, the mathematical analogy to that is proper math. 10 plus 10 equals 20. 2 plus 2 equals 4. If 10 plus 10 ever starts equaling 18, you got a problem.
Yeah.
If you have a swimming pool with a leak, if I have an electric system with a short circuit, if I have a leak in my engineering system, nothing works. Nothing in the world of ocean engineering, aeronautical engineering, electrical engineering, nothing works unless you respect conservation of energy. The problem with inflation is inflation does not respect conservation of energy. I've got a leak in the system. I've designed a currency which is not conservative. So properly understood, if you said, I want a conservative money supply, a conservative money supply would be there's $10 billion in the economy and nobody prints anymore.
Right.
And that's the Austrian economic sound money principle. Bitcoin is a conservative monetary system. It's the first system that respects the laws of thermodynamics and the laws of physics and the laws of math, which means it is true and pure. It has integrity. If you have integrity, if you have something which is true and pure and you have durability, then you can build a family around it, a life around it, a company around it, or a civilization around it. Steel is concentrated energy in metallic form. You ever walk in a steel plant and you look at the energy going into steel refining? Yeah. It's concentrated energy. The history of the human race is the civilization that channels energy most effectively always wins. Steel trumps iron. Iron trumps bronze. Bronze trumps rocks. Bows and arrows trump the guy with the spear. The guy with the spear beats the guy with the knife. It's always a matter. If you have air power, you beat land power, sea power beats the army, and nuclear power trumps everybody. And so if I have steel, I have concentrated metallic energy, I can create a skyscraper punched up 100 stories in New York. How long will it last? 100 years. How long will a steel ship last? Longer than you will last, as long as it doesn't corrode. Wooden ships? Not so much. Wooden ships rot, right? You want to build a building and punch it up against gravity and hold it 100 years, you need concentrated energy. If you want to build a trust fund that'll last 100 years, how do you save $100,000 for 100 years and give it to your great-grandkids? You put it in the US dollar, you use 99% of your economic energy. You put it in gold, gold supply doubles every 30 years. The gold bankers keep inflating the gold. Maybe you lose 90% of your economic energy. But that would be a lucky happenstance because just about every country on earth seized the gold from their citizens the last 100 years. Everybody, even the US, they take the gold.
Yeah.
So you want to save money for 100 years. You can't do it with currency. You can't do it with gold. Which company is going to be around 100 years? You want to put $100,000 into real estate in Florida? Can you buy $100,000? Let's say you could. 2% tax, 4% maintenance fee, 4% of $100,000, $4,000 a year. Your money's not going to last 100 years. How do I preserve my property, which is economic energy, which is capital, which is money? How do I preserve that? I need something harder, more durable. I need a steel. I need an economic steel. Steel is concentrated metallic energy. Bitcoin is concentrated digital energy. It's energy in digital form. I eliminated the friction on energy. What's the half-life of energy? I take a megawatt of power and I sell it at 12 cents a kilowatt hour. I have about $1 million. Okay, I'll give you $1 million of electricity. How long can you hold it in a battery? You lose 2% a month. You can't hold it very long. You're going to lose 24% depletion rate in a battery of electricity. How do you send $1 million of electricity from New York to Tokyo? You can't. You can send electricity 500 miles over a power line, you'll lose 6%. Send it 10 times, you'll lose 60%. It doesn't move. Convert that energy, that electricity, into digital energy, a la Bitcoin. You upgrade it. If you were to convert a megawatt of power via a Bitcoin miner into Bitcoin, you'd have about $5 million worth of Bitcoin. You can hold it forever. You can send it to Tokyo for a nickel. You can put it in a trust fund. Bitcoin's going up 170% a year for a decade. The S&P 500 index is going up 14% a year on average for a decade. Gold is flat. It's not going anywhere. It's getting demonetized. It's a dead rock in a basement. It's not fast enough. You can't put gold on an iPhone. Gold's getting depleted, inflated, and manipulated away by the bankers and the miners. So Bitcoin is simply pure economic energy. These engineers, Satoshi and all of Satoshi's compatriots, what they did is created an engineered monetary asset on an open, permissionless network that anybody could participate in. Any country, any company, any individual. You don't need a bank. You don't need to ask permission. It is the ultimate egalitarian system.